What's up, Nope?
Hey, Eddie.
Tonight's episode, interview with a illustrator.
Stay tuned.
WeirDopes coming at you. WeirDopes, are you dope too?
So today, guys, we're just talking about Emma's Mommy Went to Heaven. And yeah, it's a children's book, but today we got the illustrator. So let's welcome in Natalie. Tell Eric.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Hi, Nat.
Hey, thanks for coming.
How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I am the illustrator. I am a university student as well as a published drawer, if you will. I've got a copy of the book right here to show off.
All right. Yep. So we just got a few questions for you. I'm just going to pick your brain and see how it goes. So I guess the first question we got for you was, how long have you been doing art?
So I've been doing art informally since I could hold a pencil, and it's just something that I've always enjoyed doing as a hobby. I never really took any art classes, so I'm self-taught and I call myself a hobbyist most of the time because up until recently I never really started doing paid work. So all in all, 20 years.
Wow, that's a long time. Do you have a favorite drawing tool or digital physical drawing tool that you like to use
Yes,
when you're
I
doing these?
do. So I grew up on paper and pencil, as most people did, but when I was in junior high, I transitioned, and these days I primarily do digital art using a drawing tablet and a pen. You can see right here, and I use a software called WeirDopes, just a free software, and so I'm able to access, digital brushes and coloring and all kinds of things just from my computer.
Nice.
It's awesome. Yeah, I got one of those little drawing pads, but I haven't actually gotten the hang of it yet. It's a nightmare.
Takes a while.
All right. So, what art styles or specific artists would you say influenced you, through your whole process?
So when I was younger, I stumbled into the world of manga. Now, I had always really liked comic styles, and so Japanese comics are really well known for their emotional expression in the art as well as in the stories. And there's some real depth and maturity that you don't see in Western comics in the same way. And so that really drew me in. From then on, I kind of set out to learn that style. And a couple artists that really influenced me in the way I draw are Naoko Takeuchi, which is the author of Sailor Moon series. And then also more recently, one of my biggest inspirations is Ryoko Kui, who illustrated Dungeon Meshi, or Delicious in Dungeon.
Okay, cool. So for those people who are unfamiliar with your work, but they want to get to know you a little better, what would you suggest they start out with?
Yeah, so professionally, this is my only published piece so far, but I do have an online portfolio under a different name. And here I post just doodle artwork, as well as commission pieces. I've recently set up a profile for that. So it's just kind of like a collection of everything I can do all in one place. And for me, as well as any other artist, that's a really helpful resource to use to get to know them. And I actually, I'd be happy to show you a few of my pieces right now.
Sure, let's see them.
Awesome.
So this drawing is one in my usual anime style, and this was actually the first ever paid commission work I did. And I really pushed myself out of my comfort zone, especially with the background. So I still think of this one really fondly, even if there's a couple things I could fix. But I do use some other styles as well. I consider myself a pretty versatile artist. I also can draw in a more cartoony style, like in this next one. And this one was just a gift for a friend it was a picture of a video game character. That's what it was. And then I also do graphic work, but logos and shapes and backgrounds, that kind of thing, as you can see in this next one.
I gotcha. Yeah, that guy looks like a little battle nutcracker or something like that.
I like the little snow scene going on in the background too. That's cute.
Mhm.
Yeah, snowball fight.
I'm happy with that part.
That's awesome. All right, move on to the next one here.
And this one's fun because I did the like the background spheres and all the lighting on those. That was really fun. But I also designed that logo, and that was something I'm really proud of because that's also a bit out of my comfort zone, having to work with text and such, refined lines and everything. So there's kind of a small sneak peek of all the kinds of art I can do.
That's awesome.
Very nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
Now, would you say that you have a favorite out of any of them?
I would, and I will actually show you a different one from these three. And this one's more of a sentimental piece. It was the first one that I made on with my new drawing setup when I first got this new program. So there's that. But also, it's a drawing that I made for my boyfriend for our first anniversary. So there's that nice memory associated with that too.
That's awesome.
Very.
All right. Well, I mean, I guess we got some other questions going on. Everything else here. Hold on. We got so about the book, the Emma's Mommy Went to Heaven. So how did you meet the author on that one?
So that's a fun story. I met the author through my dad. She's a friend of my father, and he reached out to me saying that a friend of his needed an artist for a book that she was making. And he told me a little bit about like the concept, and what really stuck out to me was that the main character is a little red-haired girl. And so I collected some of these drawings. Several of the ones that I showed you here were in that little collection. And I sent it off, but I also drew a little new one, and I drew a little red-haired girl in a style that I thought would be good for a children's book. And so this is a different version of the very same drawing that you can see on the cover. Whoa. That you can see on the cover. And this was sent over to the author, and she just loved it, especially this drawing. And so she just knew from that moment that I was her artist. And this came at a really great time for me because I was in my first classes at University of Michigan, and one of them was children's literature, funnily enough. And it was during this class that I first realized, this is so wonderful, and I draw, and I'm going to be a teacher, so I like children. I think I might want to be a children's illustrator. And then lo and behold, the opportunity falls right into my lap.
That's awesome.
It was.
Like it was meant to be for you.
I think it was.
Yeah, and it does. It fits the story so perfectly because, it's obviously a really hard topic to, go over with a kid, so the fact that the artwork is so soft, it's not, it takes a hard topic and it makes it really, applicable to, the kids and everybody. So it's
I appreciate
really good work.
Thank you.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what was the process of actually making the book with the author?
Oh, for sure. So it was a big learning curve. Like I said, I've never really done anything like this before. And the first step was really just talking about the vision for the story, and figuring out exactly what the art needed to accomplish. And one of the big things that drove Cindy to make this book was that none of the children's books for families that she could find had characters that were humans. There was a lot of animals, or there was just a lot of like almost fantastical stories that really didn't have so much to do with the human side of grieving and like practically what families could do. So we knew right off the bat that this wanted to be about a human child and a human family. And then from there, I designed the characters. I made some drawings that she could approve, refined those. We figured out what the environments were going to look like. I made a little drawing that I don't have anymore, but I made a little drawing of the floor plan of the house that they live in. And since after I kind of had those visual concepts, Cindy gave me the writing and the story that I could work with. And from there, I went and I planned out what parts, well, Cindy planned out for me what writing was going to be on which page, but I planned out what drawings were going to be on which page. And for some of those, she had an idea that I just kind of drew out. And for others, she really just let me take the reels and figure out whatever I thought was best. And so really from there, it was a rather straightforward process of I sketch everything and she looks at it. And then I line and color everything and she looks at it, and we make some changes throughout as needed. But over the course of several months, we had a book.
Very cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I've always been curious about, from start to finish, the process of actually doing a book from the author
Mhm.
straight there to you, and then the process of actually printing it. So, but
Thankfully, I don't have to deal much with the printing part of it.
exactly. Now, with this book covering topics like this and everything, do you think books like this and the approach that you guys went with it, do you think that this, applied towards other things would be beneficial towards, kids and everything else?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was saying earlier about the human element, Cindy, and people she knows and people who have bought the book have really expressed already that having that is really helpful, and having that really honest perspective, but still in a way that's soft and children can take in easier. And that was my train of thought again.
Yeah, because kids aren't trying to process anything like that. I mean, they don't understand.
Mhm.
So you
Right.
really do got to break it down in a way that they kind of, go through it in the book, and the little excerpts that they have on each page to kind of go over with the parents is really nice too. So,
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that part with the parent pockets.
mhm.
Mhm. So the parent pockets were really just a great idea, and the reason why she created the book in the first place and had the idea was because she saw a need. She saw a need in her own family when her daughter-in-law passed away, and that was what spawned the whole idea in the first place. Their family couldn't find any resources that were really applicable and really spoke to them, so she made her own.
Yep,
You actually bought a few copies of these for your family, right? No?
I did. I did because, at the time, it was right around the time that my grandma had passed. So, she had cancer and all that. So it was the first death that any of my nieces and nephews had experienced in anything. So this book was kind of helpful as far as, them understanding death just as a process, and, a way to kind of explain it to them in a way that a kid can actually take and absorb. So,
Hmm.
but
That's awesome, man. That's great.
Hmm. And then it was also really important that it was about a parent, because grandparents are older and bound to
mhm,
pass away at some
absolutely.
point. It's a really common thing for families to go through, but parents in particular, it's really not something talked about nearly as much. So it's
Mhm.
good for those families who want to see that, but also it's still applicable to other types of loss. So I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Nice, very nice. So Nat, what steered you towards wanting to do children's books, and do you have anything planned for us in the future?
Yeah. So the reason I kind of got immersed in the world of children's books is because I'm training to be an elementary teacher, and that's always been my dream career. So, as part of my education, I had to really come to understand what makes a good children's book and how to find children's books that can help my own particular classroom, and really just come to enjoy them, see the merit in them. And I found that I really do genuinely enjoy them. I think these stories are great and meaningful, and that a quality children's book can be enjoyed by someone of any age. So I just immediately found myself thinking about my own art and my own career, and how I've always kind of played with the idea of making my own stories, but I never really thought about it in doing for children's literature, because I have always wanted to be a comic artist. That was something I've always wanted since I was little, and I would always fill notebooks with my own little series as if it were a magazine. So that's kind of where that spawned from.
Do you have anything planned for the future, or is this like a one-time shot kind of thing? Or
Now, this is just on the down low, no official announcements yet, but we are planning to continue with it's kind of a very similar story to this one, but aimed towards older kids. And from there, we may branch out to just different kinds of situations that children might need help with. And in terms of my own work, I definitely plan to, with some of the experience that I've gotten from this project, dive into my own webcomics and whatnot.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that. I love to hear you wanting to do comics. That touches my heart.
No, big time.
Yeah, I've always had respect for comics. It's my favorite story medium. The combination of, you've got all your good writing and you've got the beautiful artwork. It's just perfect.
Nice. Excellent. Excellent.
Ever thought about doing any kind of manga or anything like that?
It's kind of hard to say semantics wise, just because manga is kind of just used in terms of comics by Japanese people. I'm not a
Right.
Japanese person, so I can't exactly do that. But when people look at my art, they're also like, oh, this is, like an anime manga art style. So it's hard to say, but whatever you want to call my work, I will be making it.
Right.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, so you said you went to University of Michigan?
Yep, Michigan Flint. And I'm still there for another few years. I'll be starting my student teaching soon.
That's awesome.
Are you looking forward to that?
Oh yeah, I am. I'm going for like 3rd to 5th grade specifically, and I had just like a little bit of a chance, just like a week or two, to meet with some 3rd graders this last semester, and it was just a blast. I could hang out with them all day, so I'm looking forward to that.
Very good. And if anybody's interested in maybe buying the book, how could they go about doing it?
Yeah, so the book is available on Amazon as well as Barnes and Noble, and I believe that there are paperback as well as audio versions.
I
Excellent.
think I've seen a hardcover option maybe too.
Yeah, I'm not sure which of the places that's available. I think it might be only some, but they do exist. I've got one right here.
Very good.
Yeah, but
And we'll be sure.
we'll
Yep. Go ahead.
be sure to put that link to get the book there in the description down in the
All
video.
right. Thank you.
So
Is there anything else you'd like to share with us tonight, or
Well,
any closing thoughts or anything?
I guess my closing thought would be, if there's anyone out there who's thought about doing something like this, it's really just got to come from a place of not wanting to do it for just the profit or the business idea, because it's not always going to work out in that field. But if it's something that is really meaningful to you and you're not going to regret either way, then you should go for it. Because in the event that it's not a huge success, then you can still feel good about it. But I feel that when you're really passionate about something, it really does tend to take off even more.
That's great advice. Great advice.
do what you love.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time with us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me and hearing me out.
You feel
Yep,
free to come
absolutely.
back when the next book comes out. We'll be here waiting.
All right, I know
See
where
you
to
later,
find you.
Nat.
Yep, see you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So thanks for stopping in with us. Hope you guys really enjoyed the video. No, we had a good time. So
Absolutely. And remember, we're dopes. Are you dope too? See you next time.